No, you can't always make it before the bank closes. With our integrated teller, you can talk to a live person as late as 7 p.m. on weekdays and noon on Saturdays. It's not just an ATM, it's an ITM. First Choice Bank, your choice for banking.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 6.
Welcome back to Mississippi Live Weather at 6. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor here from the Room to Room Weather Center. We are tracking a multitude of things from a dry forecast, cool mornings, but also Saturday's severe weather threat. So let's go ahead and break down those headlines of what to expect as we track that here. Cool mornings, warm afternoons. The tale of two forecasts we broke down earlier this evening at 5. Once again, a big headline heading into the next couple of days. Those temperatures gradually warming up, both high and low temperatures. And like I mentioned before, breaking down that severe weather potential for this weekend, because it is a realistic possibility, but is our area the main focal point? We'll have answers on that forecast coming up here shortly. So let's go ahead and get into the first 12. And like I mentioned, no severe weather expected for the next couple of days. 72 degrees by 7, cooling off overnight into the mid-50s for the start of our Wednesday. Hey, halfway through the work week, no complaints there, and we are continuing to count down those days until the weekend. Let's go ahead and get into our North Mississippi Storm Chaser cameras. Columbus, 81 degrees, wind still out of the north-northeast about 9 miles an hour. You do notice Highway 82 busy with cars this evening as folks head home from work or school or practice or anything they had. I mean, it was a time to be outside, so hopefully they got outside before they were on that commute home. But if not, there's still time. Don't worry, get out there. But as we take a look in Oxford, I mean, I love this time of year. Let me tell you why. We get to see sunset after sunset after sunset. So I try to put as many cameras in here as I can because this is just a stunning sight in Oxford. 77 degrees right now, and that sun is setting on the horizon. This has been the case over the past 5 days. So yeah, I mean, this has been a forecast that we've gotten used to here in North Mississippi, but not just the dry conditions, it's also the cloud cover. I mean, just clear skies across North Mississippi and across the entire state of Mississippi. As we look out there towards the west, a little bit more cloud cover, but I mean, honestly, the entire southeast is the place to be with how dry things have been. So let's go ahead and get into our surface analysis right here, and I'll have to expand things out one more time to show where any of the action is taking place. Tells you something, right? That we're far away from anything happening here in our neck of the woods. So Tuesday evening, dry as can be, nothing in the sky, not even a cloud in sight. So that is not a bad forecast whatsoever. If you have any of those soccer games or baseball games, or you just want to go outside, I mean, it's a good forecast for it. That ridging pattern still right over the top of us, and that's why that high pressure continues to circulate in some of that drier air. We do have a little bit of a disturbance out west, and we're paying attention to that low pressure center there towards California, because that's going to be the driver over the next few days that develops our next system that will impact our area. So that's kind of the driver in all of this. So Wednesday morning, waking up to another beautiful forecast. I mean, you can see the closest cloud to our area is 250 miles. Yeah, you're not complaining about that at all, right? So as we get into that Tuesday, or should I say Wednesday morning, and that Wednesday morning commute, so it is just going to be a cool and dry and clear forecast. However you want to word it, it's beautiful. So Wednesday continues those great conditions, even there by 9 a.m. So the next 24 showcases a dry and clear start, a dry and clear finish. Really a beautiful forecast all the way around for your Wednesday. Temperature-wise, mid-50s to start, so a cooler start to the day. But as we get into the afternoon, you do see temperatures back into the mid-80s. But today, a beautiful forecast, and one that we are just pumped to be experiencing here in the Room to Room Weather Center. But we do have, something we're looking forward to on top of the beautiful forecast, and that is going to be our game of the week. Voting is still live. And I say that because there is still the opportunity for folks to come back and win this thing. If we look at the votes right now, we can see Itawamba versus Houston still sitting at about, fingers crossed, 1,712 votes. Let me see if it pulls up right here. It might have froze up on me. 1,000, trust my word, 1,712 votes. And unfortunately, I think it did freeze on us. So I'll bring it back right here. But basically, it's 1,712 votes. The rest of us right around 1,000. So we're only 700 people away from this being a completely different ball game, both literally and figuratively, because we could be heading to a different location. But that's all dependent on you. Voting ends at the top of the 10 o'clock hour, and we will tell you who that winner is coming up later on this evening. So excited about that, excited to get our game of the week going, and we will let you guys know where we are headed here in just a couple of hours. So also what we'll be discussing is in the next 60, that severe weather threat. Right here in the Room to Room Weather Center, we'll have the latest details, the energy that could be seen Saturday, and just what to really expect with this system. We'll have that in full breakdown coming up here shortly. Temperature-wise, it is also going to be a warm forecast for the next several days, gradually increasing. We'll break down just what those temperatures are here coming up in the next minute.
Bulldog Burger, we take the burger game to the next level, like the Freshman 15, stacked with panko fried mozzarella. Unleash your appetite.
Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Well, I said the cameras would be sunsets galore, and I promised, or I live up to those promises, because take a look over there in Oktibbeha County. May have been showcasing a beautiful sunset right now. Did I say sunrise? I meant sunset. Apologies for that. 81 degrees, wind still out of the northeast, about 9 miles an hour, so breezy conditions remain in place, as will continue to be the case overnight as well. Kosciuszko, 79 degrees, dew point right around 50 degrees. I do see the sun on the horizon right over my left shoulder right there, but that is going to be setting here shortly, and allowing those temperatures to really cool off as that heat from the day kind of just disperses back into the atmosphere. So Mississippi Live Weather Radar, nothing blocking that heat from escaping, and that's what's really allowing those temperatures to cool off. No cloud in sight, no drop of rain in sight. A forecast you can't complain about. Temperature-wise, 80 degrees Amory, 78 Tupelo, 77 in Oxford. We jump out south and west, and we're seeing 83 Belzona and 82 around Cleveland. So some folks warmer than others, but nonetheless, we are still all sitting above average. So make sure to dress accordingly. T-shirts probably still on the agenda for our Tuesday evening plans. If you're looking to get out there and take the dogs on a walk, I know my dogs would love to go on one. We're seeing 68 degrees around 8 p.m., so slightly cooler, 63 by 10 and 60 by midnight. Unfortunately, that sun does set a little bit early, so walking the dogs maybe in the dark by 8 p.m. So this might be a little bit too late of that forecast, but hey, I know the dogs won't complain one bit. They like getting out and about, and I'm saying all this, I should probably take my dogs on a walk. That might be a good idea. So anyway, back to the forecast. You can see that is just going to be those dry conditions, and that's really the emphasis of all of this, is get outside. If you want to take Fido with you, then great. If you don't, great. It's still going to be a good look forecast for you. So those evening hours keeps those dry conditions around, that northerly wind cycling in that drier air, and that's what's really kept our forecasts calm, kept our forecast clear, and those clear conditions really kept our forecast cool. And that's why temperatures once again will be waking up around the low to mid 50s. So around the region, grab the long sleeves. As I've been saying the past couple of days, sweatshirts, kind of the ideal choice whenever it comes to what we wear heading out the door, because it is going to be something that keeps us warm in the morning, but something we don't need towards the afternoon. We can have a t-shirt underneath that and be good to go. I mean, 54 Tupelo, 54 Oxford, 55 Grenada, and 54 around Louisville. So your school bus forecast heading out the door to the school bus, like I mentioned, with the sweatshirts, probably need that for our students, but by drop off 84 degrees, the IMNPC showcasing a great forecast, just a little bit warmer there towards the afternoon. So make sure to have that jacket handy early, but not by the afternoon. We'll take that futurecast into Wednesday, and you might be asking me, Gabe, why is nothing happening? Well, it is. It's just how constant, consistent, and cool and dry this forecast is. That'll continue to be the case towards those lunch plans. So take those lunch plans outdoors. Don't ask me why this is happening. Say, hey, Gabe, we're glad this is happening, and take full advantage of that. Noontime, still dry, even to the afternoon. So as we wrap up the school day, still going to be a good time to get out there. Maybe take a trip to the park. If you want to plan a park date, might be a good idea to do so then. And your Wednesday evening, pushing 4, 5, and 6 o'clock into those midweek activities for church, still looking like an ideal forecast. Temperature-wise, above average, those conditions do stick around. 83 Oxford, 85 Water Valley, and 88 towards Greenwood. So we are gradually climbing when will the climb end? I mean, the roller coaster has to go down at some point, right? Well, it does. I promise. Stay with me. Wednesday evening, unfortunately, I mean, it will still be those warmer conditions, but as the night moves in, cloud cover non-existent, and that's what allows that atmosphere to cool off once again. So we will still be looking at those cooler fall-like temperatures for our Thursday morning. But as we get into our Thursday afternoon, sunshine comes up, and with all the clear skies, I mean, it's going to warm that atmosphere up nicely. I do want to say one asterisk on that. There's a cloud. Guys, we've not seen a cloud in several days now. So this is a huge deal here in North Mississippi. And I know, folks, honestly, if you see that white puffy thing up in the sky, don't be alarmed, guys. It is something that we will see a little bit more of, hopefully, in the coming days. But that is what we call clouds this time of year. So I know it's just that dry pattern. I'm really overemphasizing just how dry and clear things have been. Thursday evening, you can see those dry conditions remaining. Winds still coming out of the north, kind of a northeasterly flow as of this point. So that's going to be 9 p.m. on your Thursday. And that's kind of allowing that energy and that moisture to return to the forecast just a bit into our Friday. Those winds shifting ever so slightly. So that is setting the scene for Saturday, which we'll get to in just a moment. But first, let's focus on our Thursday high temperatures. And you do see 87 Houston, 86 Starkville, see 88 Columbus and Macon, and 89 towards Greenwood. We could see a few low 90s possible for our Thursday afternoon, but that's really where the warming trend ends. Things starting to take a little bit of a step back beyond Friday. As you can see, 87 Friday and then dropping to 84 on Saturday. And once that cold front fully clears, upper 70s for all of next week, or should I say the start of next week. So a little bit of something to look forward to, but we do have that speed bump of Saturday and Sundays. Rain chances, should I say storm chances. That's that cold front moving through, giving us the possibility of inclement weather, which we'll break down here in just a moment. But have that day or those days circled on your calendar, because that Saturday night, Sunday morning threat will be the big one, the big headline over the next few days. 7 a.m., 54 degrees on your Wednesday, 84 by the afternoon, and dropping off into 64 degrees by 10. Might notice no severe weather threat for our Wednesday, not even a cloud in the sky. So very similar to what we had today, and you need to get outside once again. Friday, partly cloudy conditions. This will be a big driver in our forecast. We'll break this down here in just a couple of moments. But how much of that moisture does return to the forecast? And if it's not a lot, then Saturday's severe weather threat may look a little bit less than where things sit right now. But if cloud cover does return and a little bit of that moisture returns as well, Saturday could look a little bit more interesting. We'll again have all details coming up here in just a moment, so make sure to keep it with Mississippi Live Weather for the very latest coming up in the next minute as we break down the severe weather threat and just that timing and impacts you can expect right here from the Room to Room Weather Center in the next minute.
Be right there. Wait. Use the shovel and bucket of water, remember? Drown, stir, drown, feel. Then make sure it's cool.
Where'd you learn that?
SmokeyBear.com. Brushed up on some tips before we left. Don't want to start a wildfire, right?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
You may see a teen struggling to find his way. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we see a teen gaining the confidence and skills to land his first job. Kids today need people to see their potential and help them achieve it. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we do whatever it takes to help kids succeed. Because when we see young people, we see limitless possibilities. Do you? Join us. Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures.
Well, welcome back to Mississippi Live Weather at 6. Before we break down our Saturday severe weather threat, we do have Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon joining us where there's plenty of action, and that is down in Sydney, Australia, showing us the wonders of Australia. Matt has a full breakdown of his boat ride through the Sydney Harbor.
We finally made it to Sydney. You can see the historic Opera House behind me, someplace we're going to actually tour tomorrow as part of our Wonders of Australia tour here. You know, we are in Sydney Harbor, had a beautiful lunch here, and going beneath the historic Harbor Bridge right now. So unfortunately, I won't have the perfect shot of that for you, but I just couldn't ignore a great shot, of course, that we have of the Opera House behind us. And it was a long trip, about 15, 16 hours going over the ocean. And we've done a city tour so far today, and don't have a whole lot else planned for today other than just kind of walking around and enjoying the atmosphere here down under, which, by the way, is really low humidity, which is kind of an awesome change. You know, they are in early spring here, where, of course, we're early fall in the northern hemisphere. One of the things just so weird to me Because every time I see the sun like that, I automatically think that that direction's got to be south, right? Because you have a different sun angle there, south, actually north. It's throwing me off. I can't get used to it here. Of course, a number of those things about the Southern Hemisphere they're kind of fun. And I just appreciate the good folks at MLM for sponsoring us on this Wonders of Australia tour. So I'll leave you today with the look of the iconic Opera House here. We'll actually get a shot, I think, very near it and inside as we get an exclusive tour for tomorrow. But from Sydney, Australia, I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon from Mississippi Live Weather.
So that was Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon joining us out in the field in Australia. I mean, hey, we talk about weather watchers here in North Mississippi. How about a worldwide weather watcher? And that is our Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon, of course. A big thank you to him. And we'll have a later update coming up tonight at 10 p.m. with a little bit more about what he's doing. I mean, it is an action-packed trip, and excited to be along that journey with him. But we have our own journey here in North Mississippi, and that comes with severe weather threat for your Saturday. As you can see right here behind me, that level 2 risk in place basically west of I-55. You can see folks in Holly Springs, Senatobia, Clarksdale, Cleveland, and Belzona included within that. But the difference that we're seeing today compared to what we saw yesterday is a little bit of a shift east and south with this threat. Belzona wasn't included within that yesterday, now included in that level 2 threat. Folks in Oxford wasn't fully in our area, but now pushing a little bit more east. But what exactly does this mean for the grand scheme of things? I mean, whenever we're talking on a regional perspective, we are still not the bullseye of this storm. All of Arkansas included within that severe weather threat, and that threat includes southern Illinois, southeast Missouri, and even western Kentucky. So this is a very large level 2 threat, and one that still has several questions before Saturday fully enters the picture. One of the big things that'll help this forecast is going to be those short-range models that are a little bit more of a higher resolution and has even more of that timing that we can help kind of get a good grasp on what exactly is going to take place. So here you're taking a look at one of our long-track models, our American model, the GFS, and this is looking over the next several days. So Wednesday afternoon, you can see 3 p.m., dry, clear, per usual, right? Well, that trough ends up moving back into the picture, and you can see right there behind me just where it sits. It's currently over the Colorado, New Mexico, and there towards Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska. But watch how this transitions a little bit more towards the east. That line really well defined, and that's going to be that cold front progressing through Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska. I know you're saying, Gabe, why are we talking about this? Trust me, this has a point. So as we push more into our Friday afternoon, you can see that that threat continues to push a little bit more east, and that front all the way into western Arkansas, just a bit, starting to drive that forecast just a bit more. And that's where we could see a little bit of that development for some more action to take place, whether that be showers, thunderstorms, or maybe even strong thunderstorms. I say that, now looking at this, the front not exactly lining up with the moisture. The front's actually back here. So it's going to be right there from the northeast tip of Kansas all the way to the northern part of Texas, just looking at those wind shifts. So as we look at that forecast continue, that redevelopment does happen, and that's going to be a low pressure center that basically develops in northeast Oklahoma, and that's going to continue to develop and then push northeast into Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana. Now the positioning of that low is the big driver in this forecast. One of our other long track models, the European model, has another look at this that pushes it a little bit more towards the south. So GFS looking a little bit more north around the Kentucky area, Euro a little bit more south right over the top of Mississippi. So one of those models a little bit more intense when it comes to our severe weather parameters compared to the other. This is a look at the other, not exactly over the top on its output right now, but we're kind of judging those two long track model runs to kind of get a good idea on what's taking place. Shows the difficulties of forecasting, right? But at least time frame is breaking down a little bit more fine-tuned, so we do have a better grasp on that. So let's go ahead and get into that. This is about Saturday at 3 p.m. You can see that line becoming a little bit more well-established on the back end of things in western Arkansas. And as it continues to push on through, we do have some prefrontal development that's developing over the Mississippi River. This could have the potential to produce some large hailstones, some strong wind gusts, as well as maybe a brief tornado. We're not ruling that out completely. That's not exactly the big driver in this forecast, though. This is 6 p.m. on your Saturday, so pushing beyond sunset as that starts to push more into the region. This is about 8 p.m. on your Saturday. You can see how that gets into western Mississippi and does have the potential, depending on what energy is left, to produce a few strong storms. Now, are we reaching severe parameters? That remains to be seen because the big question is how much energy is in the area. 10 p.m. that line continues to progress on through, that cold front trying to reach just a bit closer, and into those overnight hours we will see that threat diminish. A large part of this just going to be those heavy showers. So once that main batch of storms, that leading edge eats up all that energy, we're going to be left with just a rainy night, which we're not complaining about one bit. We want the rain. We don't really want severe weather. So this is primarily going to be the really early hours of your Sunday, 1 to 2 a.m. before that threat completely moves out, and that more than likely will be starting after sunset for us. So beyond that, the front clears. We're left with those dry conditions for our Sunday afternoon, Monday, Tuesday, on and on and on, back into our usual pattern, right? Well, this is a look at fuel. Product that we call CAPE whenever it comes to the field of meteorology. So this is a good look at it, and those brighter values show more extreme values. You can see in our legend right here. The red's more limited, so don't be confused by the menacing look that the red gives. It's not going to be anything too major. This is actually the lower end of the spectrum, but there is some fuel there. This is going to be that prefrontal development there at 12 p.m. that could get into western Mississippi and produce a strong storm or two. So as we push more into that forecast, 3 p.m., that line's still sitting there, but just what is developing with it? What is the lifting mechanism to allow those storms to occur? And honestly, guys, how much moisture is in the forecast? We are in such a dry pattern right now. We really need something that will completely take away those dry conditions and build back that moisture for this to take place. So that's a good thing because that is a big uphill battle, but it's not an impossibility. And that remains the golden question over the next few days is what is our moisture looking like? So 3 p.m. into 6 p.m. and on there into 10 p.m., a lot of that energy does dissolve out. So that's why we're saying this threat, although it is producing a few showers and storms, really diminishes as it heads overnight. So our severe weather potential is primarily towards the afternoon and into that early evening time frame with whatever energy is left. 10 p.m. on into the overnight hours, I mean, look at 4 a.m., basically nothing. So we're not really concerned with those really early morning hours on our Sunday. We're primarily concerned with those p.m. hours on our Saturday with this severe weather threat. And even then, I'm not overly impressed with what I'm seeing out of our American model. I mean, down south, energy does return, maybe seeing a few strong storms down there, but that's not going to be us here in North Mississippi. Our threat is going to be primarily Saturday afternoon into the evening hours before that threat kind of diminishes into that extended forecast. So severe weather threats right now. Let's go ahead and break this down. Low confidence for a few tornadoes to occur. Like I said, maybe a brief tornado possible within this if one of those prefrontal cells interacts with the environment in the right way. It's a possibility. It's not exactly expected with this system. A real possibility is going to be those strong wind gusts, 60 plus miles an hour possible, and that medium confidence is a little bit higher than our tornado confidence, and same thing with our hailstones. The wind is going to be the main focal point within these storms. But isolated large hail, not ruling that out either. If some of those cores build up just a bit, could see a few large hailstones of an inch in diameter. But the other big thing that we're looking for in this forecast is that medium flash flooding potential. And with this line that's rolling on through, producing, some moderate showers over an extended period of time and over a time where there's not any sunshine to dry that up, we could see a few flash flooding possibilities in areas that are used to it, that usually see that flash flooding potential whenever those fronts roll on through. So these two things right here, flooding and winds, going to be the big focal points with that potential for tornadic development and hail possible, but on the lower side of the spectrum, tornadoes being the lowest of the four things that we focus on. So still a lot of questions, and that's a good thing even 4 days out, because questions means that there's not a exact expected thing to occur. Now, models might be reaching more of an agreement as we head over the next couple of days, but that's still a golden question, is what exactly is the timing going to look like between the two models, and what exactly are those impacts going to look like? This is a good idea of what to expect, but again, this can, and emphasized, will change over the next several days. So any questions you guys have, go ahead and put it in the comments, because we love to answer that here at Mississippi Live Weather. We want you guys to stay informed and on top of things, and provide you with as much information as we can provide as possible. So as we go into the next several days, we'll provide each model run that we do get and tell you the differences or tell you the similarities and why we expect that to occur or to not occur. So keep it here for the very latest. One of the best ways to stay informed, though, is, something you guys can do. Download the free Mississippi Live Weather app today. You can click the link on the bottom of your screen as well to access our website. I feel like I've not said that too much, but that is an accessible feature as well. So go ahead and go to either of those things to get the very latest information on Saturday's severe weather threat. If you want to track the dry conditions we're in right now, if you want to see what little hope we do have for some rainfall, that is in on our app and on our website as well. So all readily available, and I'll emphasize it again, free. And that's the best part about it. So looking at our broadcast schedule, we will be back here tonight at 10, walking through the latest model runs and what new things we have learned with that risk area. Again, we'll have the latest details coming up at 10 p.m. And we'll be back for our live show at 6:30, 7, and 7:30, live from the Room to Room Weather Center with meteorologist Maggie McCauley, breaking down what's expected for your Wednesday and as well as that extended forecast with that severe weather looming on the horizon. We'll see you back here at 10. Until then, have a great evening.
Hi, my name is Rosie. Regional Rehab Center helps kids like me by offering speech therapy, occupational therapy, and dyslexia therapy. Your support helps so many of us get what we need to grow and succeed. Please help the Rehab Center